Hey guys, it's Jamie here, and we're starting a new collage challenge, probably only once a week, maybe not even as often as that, based around Fun International Days calendar. This week I've chosen Mother Ocean, which is on the 10th of May. I'm going to actually make a cover, a notebook cover. I have my scraps. I'm going to start as I always start, which is to cover the base using some Mod Podge or white glue that's been watered down. It's up to you what you do. I realise I am going to go over these holes, but it doesn't really matter. I can put them back in, and by having them punched out first means they'll be slimmer when I want to put them back in. I'm going to take some book page. I'm not going to do purely book page. I am going to do a bit of a mix. I just want a mixed background. So I also have some of my jelly printing that I did the other day, which is got the blues in it. I have different size pieces on top of each other. I will be covering the whole lot with a second layer of Mod Podge and letting it dry before I do anything else. The larger the piece you use, the quicker it is to cover, obviously. Even the pale pink's fine. I've got a piece of wallpaper here. You can see what I'm doing. I'm going to fill up the whole of the front cover, and when it's dry, come back and we're going to do some treatments. I've recut those holes back in. I've got a variety of watercolours in just about every shade of blue, a bit of purple, a bit of green, and all we're going to do is lighter at the top and then come down to get darker at the bottom. Just scribble it in. I think that's the next shade, I'm not sure. That's quite dark. That should be down here somewhere really. I think this will be darker again. Let's get some purple going. Probably do with a lighter purple at some point. Some green. Beautiful colour that is. Look at that. We need our water. Spray it and spread it. I think that was my darkest blue. Up the top we want the lightest again. Get a bit of the green in there. So I'm just moving some of these colours around, but still going light to dark. You can always do that as well. Bring some down. Just fancy a little bit more purple through this midsection. If I feel like anywhere needs it, I will give it an extra blast to get that more speckly look. Take out my finger marks. Now I need to leave that to dry. Because I don't want this to move too much even though it's dry, I'm going to use Hairspray as a protective coat, whereas if I was to use Mod Podge or a matte medium, with it being watercolour, it would move. Now I need to let that dry before I do another layer of this style of watercolour. I was going to do some watercolour next, but actually looking at this where it's too light, I'm going to go in with some Distress ink first. See if I can get a general coverage and then do watercolour. I want to try and bring some of this whiter areas to a more blue background. Possibly get the other blue that I've got, which is, so that's patina, salvage patina, and this one is Stormy Sky. See that it's beginning to darken down some areas. I don't know if I want to spray that with water or not. Possibly not. What I probably want to do is protect what I've just done with the inks and then do some more watercolour on top. So again, to protect the ink, I'm going to go back in with the Hairspray, let that dry off. That should now be protected, and we can hopefully do the watercolour again without reactivating the watercolour underneath. It is going to be a similar process. I just want a stronger look. I will throw some white through this at some point, but not yet. Now let's see if the underneath remains as it should, and it's just the top that gets activated. That's what we're hoping for. And if this is too thick, we can just use paper towel to pull off some excess. Initially scrub it in. That's quite murky now. Move it around. Pull off some excess, I think particularly at the bottom. Just lay a bit of paper towel on it to lift some of it. I think it's not blended enough in certain areas. Like you can still see the scribble marks. Spritz it, Plenty of water on there. Now it needs to dry. Again, the same process with the hairspray. If after the hairspray's dried, you find it too sticky, just rub over with a bit of baby powder. What I want to do now is add some light coming in from this area down through the sea, getting that sort of diffused effect. So this time I've not added any water to that. I might even try a bit of yellow. That has still gone a bit green, so it is still pulling, despite all the protective layers, some colour from underneath, which is a bit disappointing. And now we want to get that ray effect. From the bottom, we need to get some kind of coral or something in here. I'm not even sure what colour coral is. I think it can be any colour, but I think I've mainly seen pinks. I know that doesn't look like coral in a million years, but we are going to smudge it, then add some water and make it run. And I'm hoping we can get a coral effect by making it run upwards. And chase it a little bit into more specific areas using the air gun. While it's still a little bit wet, I want to throw a different colour through that, or some different colours through that. We have a purple, and then maybe an orange, and again chase it. Next thing I want to do, it is still slightly damp but not too bad, is take the bubble wrap. You hardly want any paint on this, because if you're going to get the bubbles to show, you don't want to smother them. See if we can get some bubbles here. Yes, we can, but we're going to have to knock some out. And we may need to knock some out with some paint or some water. Let me see if I can pull that up. Slightly too much in the way of bubbles here. If you just get some blue over some of that, take some of the ink stamp over some of the white bubbles that we don't want. Just trying to think. I know. I will get some Liquitex, which is the clear gesso. See what this does. It might bring some of the colour back up. Now I have some gel pens. Make sure they're working. And then with my left hand, which is my non-dominant, we're going to see if we can get any marks to show through that could potentially be coral, but it may not. No, it's not really showing. I'm wondering about permanent markers then. We have a fine and a thick. Is that what coral looks like? I think it does. I wonder what happens if you... I know, I'm obsessed with spraying things. If you spray that, interesting. Again, non-dominant. I need to get more water in this. For the time being, we're done with that background. Laid down a lot of colour. It's been matted down quite a bit by using the clear gesso. Putting that to one side now, and taking this shape and the black gesso. Might take a couple of coats, I'm not sure yet. I've got a final central piece. I'm not sure how much more I was going to do. I was going to do some gold rays and some seaweed, and I might still do that, which would make it a little bit more collagey. But the first thing I'm going to do is stick these two down. It's super matte. I think what I would like to do is to get a little bit of this glue and add some silver. Am I getting a result I like? I'm not 100% convinced on this black background. I'm almost tempted to paint it gold. I don't know if it's going to cover this or not, or whether the black's going to show through anyway. I just think the black's too harsh. Maybe I need to do gold and then, I don't know. Don't even know if I can get in here properly without going over borders and edges, but I can go back over that, that's okay. this is what happens, I start fussing. This might take a couple of coats. Right, the mistake is definitely the gold. So I've done 3 layers of the gold. I've outlined the shell with the white Sharpie pen, which is making that pop more. I've now got some gesso and I'm dry brushing this into this and bringing the light down into here. I'm trying to fade this a little bit into the background. A bit random now, but hey ho. I'll get some stain or something over that in a minute, but I want to get that light effect coming down. It's definitely getting better. So I've started to attack this with some of the Distress ink. Bring some stuff together. Yeah, it's looking okay. I have got the oil pastels out and I'm going to see if I can just merge this a little bit using these. I'm not sure if I can or not, or whether I need the white gesso. These are going to be brighter than the watercolours. But if I can get this to merge in a bit, I'm hoping I'm not going to have to go over the whole thing. A bit of purple. It dark down here. If I can smudge out some of this white, that would be awesome. Might be how I get my coral in. That luminosity that's important, isn't it? So where's the white? Don't know if I need to do it up here as well, because I do like the splotchiness of that. When it goes down into murkiness, I think we can get away with that. This is a bit annoying. I need to sort of do the similar on this side. Ink pen. It's pretty cool now, and it's definitely going to do.